One world, more connected than ever. 12 billion and counting mobile connections. And yet 2.4 billion people are on the other side of the digital divide.
Emerging markets should not be an exception anymore. It should be exceptional, and we will get there.
VEON's digital operators serve 6 markets with a total population of 520 million. Nearly half of which are yet to be connected to mobile internet. With 127 million mobile broadband connections to be added in the next 3 years. We are ready to take on the challenge, making technology work for all. Welcome to the world of VEON 2.0. We are ready for what comes next.
Good morning, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for our Capital Markets Day. My name is Faisal Ghori. I'm the Head of Investor Relations at VEON. We're very excited to have you here. Before we get started, I would just like to state that we have some disclaimers. We will be making forward-looking statements today, and the usual disclaimers apply. With that, I will hand off to Kaan Terzioglu, our CEO.
Thank you very much, Faisal. So, first of all, thank you very much for being here with us. I see very familiar faces, and our shareholders, investors, creditors, industry analysts, researchers, both in this room and also joining us over video. We will be webcasting this event, and later on we will do also video casts. So whenever anyone would like to go back, they can watch and keep us accountable for what we have said. First of all, thanks a lot. Things have changed, some things, but some things never change. And I will start with reminding us about that a little bit. But let me first start with today's agenda. So after myself laying down our strategy, fueling our growth ambitions for the next 3 years, I will leave the floor for Joop, our Chief Financial Officer, to take us through the financial execution and outlook. Then we're going to have, one by one, our general managers, starting with Amir from Pakistan, Sasha from Ukraine. We have Gökar here, our Chief Financial Officer from Kazakhstan, because our CEO, Zhenya, has a family commitment. And we have Eric here from Bangladesh and Anjay from Uzbekistan. One by one, they will tell about their operations. And they will confirm that we all believe in this growth that is expecting us over the next 3 years. And finally, we will do a fireside chat with Chris. And we also have one more guest. Hasnain will be with us, talking about some macroeconomic trends, specifically impacting frontier markets. I hope today will be rich in terms of conversations, and I hope you will see the potential that we are looking at and our ability to execute, looking back our track record, as well as our plans for the future. I mentioned some things changed, and some things never change, they evolve. Let me start with about some changes that are quite important. Last Friday, we were in London in NASDAQ offices, and I want to thank again our shareholders for their support for our new board. Efficient 7-people board, all having an equity stake in the company and committed to the success of VEON. Thank you for supporting with your votes and appointing this phenomenal board. As you can see, our board is well equipped with what is necessary to be successful in frontier markets. Potential is huge, but only the ones which can manage geopolitical risks and navigate through rough markets can be successful. I feel amazingly well equipped as the management team for that. I also would like to highlight the importance of our founder, Ogi Fabela, with an amazing story of establishing this company back maybe 30 years ago. He's here with us today, and Ogi, if you would allow me to have you on the board and basically remind ourselves what we stand for. Ogi Fabela, our chairman.
Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you to those online, all of you here in the room. We have 140 people joining us this morning, and really thank you for your confidence and trust in us. We've all heard the sayings, let the numbers speak. You've heard and seen the performance. Management has delivered great performance, but you're going to hear today from our global world-class leaders under the, of course, amazing leadership of Kaan, our CEO. And I think you're going to like what you hear. We're doing some amazing things. The headwinds that were kind of holding us back a little bit, they're behind us. We're really excited about going forward. Personally, as Kaan said, very excited to be back as chair. It's been 33 years since we started this company, and we have a board that is absolutely committed. And please know, as shareholders, stakeholders, as people who are friends of VEON, that as a board, we will be fiercely focused on creating value. That is our job. But with that, thank you very much. Enjoy the day.
Thank you, Ogi.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot. Yes, the days of freedom to talk continues with freedom to connect and freedom to enjoy a digital life. Now, I also mentioned that we have changes in really about the profile of our company. Over the last 3 years that we have last met, it was November 2021. We were right out of COVID. We didn't know where we were heading. 22 started with an interesting uprising in Kazakhstan, which settled down, and then the war. And at that time, our company's profile was totally different. As part of our profile, we had Russia, actually quite a developed market, investment grade, with relatively low single-digit growth. Our decision to exit Russia and successful execution of it has changed the profile of our company. Today, we might be more compact as a company. To be precise, pretty much half the size we were before. But as a company, we are growing much faster, and we have a phenomenally healthy balance sheet as part of the deleveraging that we have executed. I will come back to some of these numbers, but still, I would like to highlight a couple of things. When I talk about the higher and faster growing company, look at the Q1 results. This is the 4 months, 1.3 billion almost top line for the first 4 months of the year, including April, 8.6% US dollar growth, and almost 13% local currency growth. Now, please keep in mind that we have not normalized these numbers for the cybersecurity impact in Ukraine. Actually, we are missing $46 million of top line and $47 million of EBITDA. Put that into consideration, we are growing almost towards the 20s local currency and double-digit growth in US dollars. To be precise, mid-teens. So I'm extremely happy that our new compact company with a healthy balance sheet is very well positioned to take on the next stage of development. 520 million people. Pakistan, in the new VEON, is almost 35% of our business. 72 million subscribers. And as you can see, we developed new pillars of success and stability, like Kazakhstan, Bangladesh, Uzbekistan. All of them gaining not only market share, but also wallet share. Please have a look to these numbers. 160 million SIM customers, traditional telecom customers. Look below. Almost 30 million financial services customers, almost 30 million entertainment customers, almost getting 40 actually moving onwards. We have 4 million customers who do their doctor appointments over our platform on Healthy in Ukraine, and Sasha will talk more about that. But as we move on, we have an amazing market to harvest value. Now, I mentioned some things change. These are the things which are changing. We have a new governance. We have a different type of a profile, but some things never change. What never changes is our commitment to you in terms of creating value. And let me remind you, going back to the ambitions we shared with no edits, no changes, back in the capital markets days in 2021. We practically said we can grow this company 10 to 14% on a CAGR basis for the next 3 years. We said if our assumptions are right, this would correspond to single-digit US dollar revenue growth as well. 3 percentage points of EBITDA and margin expansion. We will get below 20% capex to sales ratio, and we will reach 70% 4G penetration. Now, keep in mind, this was the profile of VEON with Russia, a developed market, embedded. And clearly, while Bangladesh was around 12% 4G penetration in those days, Russia was already at 50%. Now, where are we today after 3 years? I'm very happy to say that the performance we have delivered over this time brought us 15.4% CAGR on revenue growth and 14.8% growth on EBITDA, on average for the 12 quarters that we have passed. Yes, we have not made the single-digit dollar growth, but keep in mind the black swans we had during this time, including the war, including the fact that US Federal Reserve increased interest rates from 0 to 5.5. Now, even with that in mind, if you would take Ukraine out of this equation, we actually delivered 4% CAGR growth on US dollar basis. And we have delivered actually the 3 percentage points of EBITDA expansion, because Ukraine still continues to be an extremely profitable business in terms of EBITDA, but we moved from 67% EBITDA to maybe 57% EBITDA. And that has made that impact. So flat EBITDA margin, 18% capex to sales ratio, and we have, as of Q1, 62% of our customers enjoying 4G. Again, if you exclude the impact of Russia, this is an outstanding result, and 1 out of 4 of our customers enjoying our digital services, either financial services, entertainment services, or education and healthcare offerings that we have brought into the marketplace. Now, again, our commitment to grow this business and create value continues. And first, I'm going to tell you our next 3 years, what we have in our minds. And then I'm going to share with you how we are going to achieve it. But before going to the next 3 years, let me share with you that this performance has been actually quite balanced across our portfolio. Before the war, Ukraine used to be our top highest growing operation. Not anymore, but still, Ukraine has delivered 7.7% CAGR over the last 3 years. And I'm so happy to see Ukraine back growing double digit, starting from actually April, and meeting their targets. As you can see, we have companies who have achieved Pakistan 17.3, Bangladesh 10.8, Kazakhstan 21.7, Uzbekistan almost 21% CAGR in the last 3 years. Now you're going to hear today, one by one, why they plan to continue this ambition and take it 1 notch higher. Let me go back. This is our ambition for 2027. Before I start going over how we are going to achieve this, let's look at those. Local currency growth of 16 to 19%. EBITDA growth of 19 to 22%. Again, creating a 3 percentage point margin expansion. By 2027, we expect to generate $900 million to $1 billion free cash flow. And again, we will refer it back later on, but we expect including even Ukraine, which has recently relaxed its capital controls for 2025 onwards, we expect no restrictions in upstreaming. And it's not about 4G penetration anymore. 4G is the basis, the table stakes that allows us to be a player in digital space. We expect 1 out of 2, not 1 out of 4, 1 out of 2 of our customers enjoying a service from us beyond connectivity, either financial services or entertainment or education or healthcare. And that's the ambition we have. Now, let me also remind you, when we expressed our ambitions 3 years ago, what was the strategy we shared with you that we would execute? It had, if you remember, 2 important pillars. Pillar number 1 was a value proposition for our investors, and frankly speaking, also creditors. And pillar number 2 was the customer value proposition. Let me start with 1. We are not a traditional telecom company. We don't believe in vertically integrated telecom model. And we committed to you that we would be an asset-light company. That's why, actually, over the last 3 years, we have sold some of our tower businesses, and we have segregated and created a tower company structure in every single one of our operations, and we are in talks to find the right independent tower company operations to take them over. Over time, we did transactions. We started with Russia back in 2021 for $1 billion tower sale. We continued in Bangladesh. Recently, we signed an agreement for a fiber passive infrastructure company also to be monetized in Kazakhstan. You may have seen it for Bangladesh Towers was $100 million. It was 1/3 of our portfolio, and TNS Plus about $140 million. Why is it important to create this? Because infrastructure companies, especially tower companies, have a completely different type of investors. Investors who are looking for very predictable, bond-like returns. And we would like to tap into those returns. And we don't believe that any telecom operator can actually survive having exclusive infrastructure. These assets are for multi-tenant use. That's why we believe it is best interest of us to be asset-light. And this will evolve, as I will explain you our next stage. Let me move to the other side, digital assets. Today, we have entertainment platforms like Toffee and Tamasha with tens of millions of users. We have a mobile financial services arm in Pakistan, another one in Kazakhstan, which actually reaches out to millions of people. To be precise, 17 million people in Pakistan and almost 5 million people in Kazakhstan. They are the crown jewels of fintech businesses in these countries. We again believe that these type of digital assets is a different business model, and they have specific investors. That's why we are keen to make sure that as we move into these businesses, we create value by bringing the right investors as well together with us. Let me go to the digital operator or the traditional telecom company's future version. Maybe VEON, as a collection of emerging market operators, could not be fitting into the appetite of certain type of investors. But Banglalink in Bangladesh, Jazz in Pakistan, Kyivstar in Ukraine, Beeline in Kazakhstan or Uzbekistan, these are the blue chip companies in their respective markets. Every Pakistani, every Bangladeshi, every Kazakh wants to own a piece of these assets. And we cannot deny them from this right. And we will play our role as the largest enterprises in these countries to make sure that capital markets evolution continues. And you will see us also active getting investors locally for these assets. Divest, grow with partners, and IPOs in local markets. That was our investor value proposition, and we are progressing on that. It will evolve, and I will explain you how it will evolve as well. When it comes to customer value proposition, again, a traditional telecom company has a 32-minute relationship with its customers. On average, around the world, you can check your records as well. We make 16 minutes of calls, we receive 16 minutes of calls, up and down. On average, this is always the same. The value you can create for your customers and importance of you, relevance of you, depends on the relationship you have. As a company, we decided that this 32-minute relationship is not enough. We have to be relevant to our customers every single minute in a day. To be precise, there are 1,440 minutes in a day. And that's our objective. Do 1,440 stands for digital operator, providing meaningful services every single minute in a day. How do we do that? We define our adjacent markets: financial services, entertainment, education, and healthcare. We develop world-class applications, utilizing Pakistan's data in Pakistan, developing digital services by Pakistani engineers, creating jobs, paying taxes locally. And this model, with the right messaging with the government, where our success is based on. We are not a company which aspires to sell anymore number of gigabytes, number of minutes, number of SMSs. We want to provide our customers with meaningful digital services like TV, like AI, like financial services, education platforms, healthcare platforms. That's when you become relevant. And that's what fuels our growth beyond the general demographic dividend. Last 3 years was an amazing success in this area. As I mentioned you, 160 million telecom customers, 111 million as of actually March, and 100 million as of April, because whenever there is cricket games, it may increase and decrease, but the trend is 40% growth year on year. 111 million users, end of March, has consumed our digital services. Amazing potential for us to not to gain only market shares in the traditional business, but gain wallet shares and expand our harvesting capabilities. We will talk more about this. We will go in detail, country by country, how we are executing on that. So don't be surprised if actually you see us as a company who focuses on enterprise and consumer services, but happens to have a telecom license. There are two things which I value in telecom business when you have a license to operate. It gives you an incredible capacity to acquire customers at very low costs. And it gives you an unbelievably effective distribution platform. We take those two important strengths and we apply it in every adjacent market. And that's not a plan, that's actually what we did in the last 3 years that brought us here. Now, I think we talked quite a lot about what brought us here. And thank you for trusting us by allowing us to execute. What will take us to the next step? Allow me to explain how our strategy will evolve. First of all, on the passive infrastructure side, consider this mission to be completed over the next 24 months. We still have 35,000 towers, and we will find the right owners for that. Good unlocking of value there. This element is the next infrastructure. As we divest towers, we still believe that NetCo, the active component of our network, comes into play. Again, I will tell the same. No telecom company in the world can afford to have exclusive networks. And it is important for us to be prepared for that. You will see us ring fencing and creating NetCo companies in every operation. And you will see us and monitor us talking to our competitors to create combined NetCo companies to enable another level of effectiveness. Well, while we do that, the services component will evolve. And services component will not be only about providing telecommunication services. Telecommunication services, financial services, education services, healthcare services, entertainment services, services for specific segments from small businesses to farming industry to retail. And these services will be the basis of our revenue generating capacity in every country. And finally, technology companies. Don't be surprised if I tell you today we are the number 5th largest technology company. I'm not talking about telecoms, I'm talking about software engineers. Gökar, you'll share the number, it grows every day, but I left, I think last time it was 600. Maybe now you'll tell us 800, I don't know. But we have 800 software developers in Kazcode, which is a technology company in Kazakhstan. What do? They develop our digital services. What they will do system integration for our enterprise customers. They will provide cloud services for our enterprise customers. And these businesses will generate actually fueling growth to consumer services and enterprise services as well. We talked about the Do 1440, how we attack the adjacent markets. Let me share with you what I see in the next 3 to 5 years to come. The world of smartphones and apps on smartphones will probably come to an end. Generative AI will bring a totally different type of interface. I think maybe Elon Musk's vision of having implants is not going to happen in the next 5 years, but be ready for on-plants. Maybe it is a small box you will carry with, maybe it is a glasses, and the interface will be all about ability to convert artificial intelligence into augmented intelligence. That's why we are heavily working in every country in terms of creating local language models and making sure that we are ready for that. From digital services that we provide, of course, without eliminating them, we will evolve also in being an augmented intelligence provider in local languages, including Urdu, Bengali, Punjabi, Uzbek, Kazakh, not the languages which are currently available in research libraries. That's why we need to do the hard work to get there. And we are doing those as we speak. And imagine a moment where we are not only a digital operator, but we deliver value propositions for our customers in terms of offering them the ability to become the best doctor in Dhaka in the world, the best teacher in the world, actually working in Islamabad, because we will create the co-pilots for them, specifically for their jobs, in their local languages. And the offers we will have will not be number of gigabytes, it will be offering them a better version of themselves. An unbeatable offer and value. And only licensed operators will be able to play in this world because it will be so nationally important and strategic. So as we move on the customer value proposition, you will see us embracing, in addition to digital operator strategy, AI 1440, augmented intelligence for every single minute. Now, let me share a couple of things explaining you why I believe a growth of 16 to 19% CAGR is possible. Let me start with this picture. 520 million people living. Today, 1 out of 3 is our customers. 1 out of almost 4 is our digital service customers. But reality is, only half of them are connected to the internet. We are not living in Paris, London, Bucharest even. We are living in countries, only 1 out of 2 people are connected to internet today. We are going to be seeing 126 million new mobile broadband connections. And when we talk about internet, the path to connect to internet is through mobile. There's no fiber in most of our operations. 1/3 of the people has never banked. And 1/3 of the people has never utilized a mobile payment capability. And this opens up an incredible opportunity for us, because this shows actually that with the customer acquisition capabilities we have, with the effective low-cost distribution capabilities we have, We are here to embrace the opportunities in the adjacent markets, and we already see the results around that. And let me give you a couple of other statistics. Smartphone penetration, 57% in Pakistan, 53% in Bangladesh. You think these people will buy smartphones? I think yes. Think about the opportunities for retail business. Think about the opportunities for buy now, pay later type of services. And think about the opportunities when they understand that this device can connect them and it will increase their consumption by 13 times. And 13 times increases for the ones who will move from a voice-only player to a multi-play customer. And then there will be additional new players into the marketplace. Now, we enjoy the demographic dividend still. Our countries grow. GDPs of these countries, despite all sorts of black swans that we have seen, continue to grow. And this organic growth is the #1 reason why we believe that this growth can lead to where we are aspiring to. The second part of this growth, accelerator #1, is the multiplay impact. We do not look to our customers as an average. We don't look to ARPUs. We don't look to churn in the way that everybody else communicates. We actually analyze the consumer behavior. We have customers who uses only our voice services over a Nokia 2110 phone. Well, we still have them. Actually, we have about 40 million of them. And then we have customers who utilize our voice and data services. We call them double play. And then there are customers who consume a digital service. The revenue potential in between a voice-only customer and a multiplay customer is almost 3 times. When we put the fixed networks in place, it can go up to 8.7 times, like in Kazakhstan. And this is why we are committed to the Do 1440. Digital operator strategy allows us to grow the revenue potential. Not only by generating more revenues, but also driving consumption and reducing churn. You can see the statistics in a minute about how that actually plays in. But remember, in Q1 21, we had only 15 million, or less than 12% of our customers who were utilizing our digital services. Now 1 out of 2 does. From 1 out of 8 to 1 out of 2. And this growth is going to be continuing, and that's why we expect even an acceleration over the normal organic growth. Market share gain is not enough for us. We are after wallet share. Distribution advantage is what will enable us to access the adjacent markets. And we will focus on creating offers which cannot be compared. Price competition is not the game that we are in. We have a price control. We enrich our offers by unrefusable value propositions. I mentioned to you about the impact on the ARPUs in Pakistan. A voice-only customer creates 1. A multiplay customer who enjoys JazzCash services, Tamasha services, creates 3.2 times of that. And when it comes to churn, it's almost 30% less. In markets where we have fixed networks as well, look at the churn rates. They don't go. A customer who has a fixed network and a mobile network from us, who has an entertainment service embedded, a mobile financial service embedded, is a lifetime customer, as you can see in Kazakhstan. And look at the revenue potential. A single voice customer versus a customer who is embedded to our services. And this is why I truly believe that on top of the organic growth that the market offers to us, we are able to take it to the next level. This is our portfolio today. 100 million end of April, as I mentioned. In March, we had a cricket game. Now in June, we have another cricket world championship. These numbers will probably be 120 million by the end of this month. But look at the segments: entertainment, financial services, health, learning or education, super apps, and enterprise services. We monitor and develop all these different brands and value propositions. None of them are captive. So every application we do is open for everybody in the country. That's why, we have almost 20 million of our customers, which has never been our telecom customer, enjoying our services, which will, in the future, be our customers because they will understand the privileges of watching TV service over the platform that they provide telecom. In certain countries like Pakistan, we transact today 7% of GDP. Over our financial services platforms, we transacted $26 billion. And 70 billion minutes have been consumed on our platforms. All the reasons why we believe that growth of 16 to 19% in the countries on average is possible. I mentioned to you about the next generation of the customer value proposition, and that's going to be AI 1440. We will work with every single country, every single research institute. We started already in Kazakhstan, putting local language models in countries, especially where there is a research library problem, and create specific language models so that we can be relevant to our customers. You will hear many operators talk about AI, and you will hear them talking about how they intend to use AI and save money. Shame on us if we don't do that, of course. Shame on us if we don't use AI to provide customer service or do network optimizations. We have been doing that for a long time. But the real value will become how we impact the lives of our customers. That's why our products will focus on generating real impact and value. Best doctor in Dhaka, best teacher in Islamabad, best farmer in Lahore, best small business operator in Astana. That's our objective. That's what we mean by augmented intelligence for every single minute in a day. Now, let me continue on the investor value side, because we have a lot of value to unlock. And let me start explaining what I mean by that. Infrastructure, digital operators, digital assets. Again, the three business models that we operate in every country. And we have to make sure that we unlock value in every single piece to create shareholder value. How are we going to do that? We still have 37,000 towers. We are committed in execution of the asset-light strategy when it comes to tower sales. We are going to create netcos, companies managing our active network, both fiber and mobile networks, with the license and the spectrum ownership. And we're going to be seeking infra sharing in every country that we operate. Okay? Here, we create cash. Here, we reduce capex, maybe to the extent of 50%. No more 18%, 17% capex to sales, right? Because you share the network with your competitors. And an incredible way of creating value. We are already in talks in some of our countries, and we actually even announced it in Bangladesh, to create this type of joint netcos to serve better the country, supported by the country regulators. Consumer services, from entertainment, financial services, education, and healthcare, we believe we are there to serve the customers in the way that they deserve in frontier markets. Our customers are underserved. They don't get banking, they don't have proper retail. We are there to provide them those services, and with our low-cost acquisition capability and distribution potential, I believe we will be number one and number two in every one of these adjacent markets. Enterprise services. Yeah, you may say there's hyperscalers everywhere. How are you going to beat Amazon and Google? You know, the answer is in Pakistan, garage exists, not Amazon. Pakistani government will trust garage, not Amazon or Google. And we will make sure that we will be number one or number two cloud provider in every market. We are going to utilize our advertising technology capabilities. Sanjay will talk about this more. We already have the sell-side and buy-side advertising markets that we already integrate into our entertainment platforms. Keep in mind, we are the biggest entertainment platform in Bangladesh, in Pakistan. There is advertising space in there. Which advertising is more valuable? The big screen advertising, which nobody knows who is watching, or the small screen advertising, which we can precisely target for? We are already seeing significant advertising revenues in all the markets. And technology companies, not to only serve the expectations of the government or the corporate government relationships. No, these countries require technology companies, system integrators, cloud services. And again, you're going to see us being number one or number two in every one of these areas. Now, why it is important? You may not be seeing the last line. These three buckets, they will all be investable entities. We will go after IPOs, as I mentioned to you, in the countries, but we will be seeking also investments for our technology companies, enterprise service companies, and digital service companies. Investable entities, IPOs. Create cash, cut capex and cost, create investable entities. I believe this blueprint for unlocking value will be one of our major success drivers over the next 3 years.